And welcome back. We have with us this morning the pleasure of having Shihan Raymond Kelly from the House of Shotokan.
Hi.
And this morning we're going to have a very interesting conversation about karate and life.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Who would have known?
Thank you for the opportunity to be here this morning.
How'd you get involved in karate and why?
Well, while residing in the U.S. As a little one, my mom bought me a bike, the first bicycle I ever had. And I was so proud of it. And I went riding on the street and at the corner, and I stopped with my bike, and some boys, teenagers at that time, I was very young, teenagers at that time came over and said, "You are on my bike." And I'm saying, "No, that's my bike. My mama just bought it for me." He said, "You're on my bike, now get off of it now." And I didn't know how to defend I didn't know nothing. I was trembling and scared because it was three of them, and they were big. So I got off the bike, even without a fight, because I was afraid. I got off the bike, and they got on it, and they just took the bike away from me and went on their merry way. And I went home. From the time that they got the bike, I went home sobbing, crying. And when I got home, I cried and I said, "Mom," as I'm thinking about this kind of, getting a little bit, I said, "Mom, that bicycle that you just bought me, someone stole it." And my mom says, "Well, stop your crying. We're going to remedy this. I know how to fix this. I heard about a karate man that teach karate at one of the community centers. And I'm going to go ahead and take you there." And that was a beginning for me of karate. I got to that karate community center, and I hear, "Ha, ha, ha," as we're getting closer because they were having classes. And when I got there, I saw this instructor, and he was just yelling commands, and these kids was just doing these things and kicking and punching. And I sat down with my mom, and my mom observed the class, and I watched it. And I saw that the training was very rigid, strict. And the instructor had what we call a kendo stick. And they were not doing the movement right, kind of just tap them a little bit and get down. And I'm like, they're observing this like, "Mom, do I really have to do this?" And when the class was finished, my mom and I went and we spoke to the instructor. And my mom asked the instructor, would he facilitate taking on another student? Me. The instructor says, "Sure." My mom enlisted me, enrolled me.
So it sounds like you were a bit hesitant.
I was hesitant.
Yeah.
Got to the first day of karate class, scared, nervous. And I went through an entire session, 1 hour, with our training. And I went back home, and I shared with my mom, "I'm not going back there again."
Wow.
Because it's too hard. The things that the karate instructor was doing, he was yelling at us, and "No, Mom, I don't want that." My mom says, "Well, you will go back there. It's not your call." So subsequently, I don't want to go, Mom, and my mom dragged me, forced me.
Fascinating. So you first entered into karate for self-defense.
For self-defense. And from there, I started liking it as I got exposed to it more. And what really put the icing on the cake for me was winning my first karate tournament in the United States and got a trophy for it. After that,
And then the competitive gene kicked in.
Oh yes, kicked in right away.
How long did it take you to get to black belt?
It took me about 8 years of training.
8 years?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Shihan, this year started off, I was out of the country, and it started off very, very dark for our country. And while away, I thought, the problem that we're having in Belize is one of conflict resolution. It's about people not being empowered and people not knowing themselves.
Yes.
So it's interesting, when I knew that we were going to have this conversation this morning, I thought it was important because what you were talking about in your life story of how you got into karate is really an extension of parenting.
That's correct.
Your mother thought, okay, I can supplement my parenting with this discipline.
Yes.
I want you to talk a little bit about what karate does for the way people think, because a lot of people think it's the kicks and the punches. And that is probably the last thing.
Yes, it is the last thing.
Well, it's the first lesson, actually. You don't hit someone if you're trained in karate, and you tell them you won't hit them because you're trained. Isn't that what you usually say?
Yes and no. Going back to what you're saying, it is the glamour of what Hollywood brings to the picture. The kicking, the punching, the flying over 1,000 mountains, and all of that. The glamour that's there. That is not what karate is. That's Hollywood. What you say is the essence of what true martial art is empowerment inward. It's an inward development and an external. You'll see it, but it's all internal. Going back to me as that youngster, that parenting skill. Throughout the journey of karate, my mom put me in, but yet I did not want it, and my mom says, you will continue doing this. She saw the benefits that I, as a child, couldn't see. Her parenting skill says, you will stay there because I want to equip you with something that you're not mature to see. The empowerment of karate, I'm going to start with an idea of, for me, as a youngster, we talk about mainly children getting karate. But when you get to the adult, there's not many adults that get involved in karate. I wish there were more, because back in the days, in the early 70s, the karate schools were predominantly adults, not children. And as time went on, there was a shift that now you have more children being attracted to it versus adult. What caused that? A lot of Hollywood. And responsibility of adults and so on and so forth. The empowerment that karate brings to the table or to the arena is many individuals, I'm going to the adult side of it, if you do not want change within your life, and karate brings change, as it did through my journey in karate. If you do not want change in your life, it's not going to happen. So we're going to call that desire. If you do not desire change, has it changed for me when I was training as a child, and the desire came about that I continue liking it, and like Marlon has said, the competition, winning my first tournament, and I grew more to loving it. In developing that desire to do anything, that is a component of where it starts. But that desire is not superficial. It must be a desire that is strongly motivated you to want to do action. And that's what we call determination. Because that drive, that determination is never giving up. And in karate, the life skills that one develop inward is a determination. Taking on anything that is in front of you and say, I will not quit. I will not give up, because you are determined to accomplish that goal. Example, when I was studying the university, there was areas and time that there were many students in my class that dropped out because the subject matter was challenging for them. I was not going to drop out because I did see it challenging, but the determination allowed me to see through it and say, at the end, I will have a degree, and this degree is going to open doors for me. So determination and drive is part of the quality that inwardly your character develop through the training of through the art of karate.
How are these skills transferred in karate lessons? How do you feel that is it because once you've given, I mean, there's an exercise component to karate that people don't always know, that you have to push through, that you do it the hardest possible way instead of the easier ways? What is it?
The hardest possible way.
Knuckle push-ups.
The whole 9 yards. The hardest, the abdominal, the crunches, the jumping jacks, sweating it out, and I mean, to really challenge yourself through the physical to get to the spiritual or the character building. And that is done through the rigid exercise. At House of Shotokan, I'll tell you right now, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody, because the way in which a lesson plan is designed, and I designed it, it's rigid, and it is going to challenge you but challenge you physically, because at the object of it is the empowerment inward now to transmit to a life skill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, one of the, to me, in terms of looking at it broader and extracting the life lessons from it, can you talk to us about the becoming aspect of karate? Because when you first go in, you are not something.
That's correct.
And what you lay out is a roadmap. When you go to your institution, there is a plaque on the wall that shows you the different belts.
That's correct.
And there's someone to assist you to change from who you are into something that you're not. One of the things that you were talking to us about a bit earlier was the issue of disgust, not liking where you are.
That's
and
correct.
To identify that change, but to have the structure around you to do it. Could you talk a little bit about that? Where I was surprised that was a word that you would use in terms of a life skill.
Disgust.
Yes.
That you would extract.
You know, if you don't mind, I'm going to throw my bifocals on here. Disgust, strong disapproval aroused by something unpleasant or offensive. The strong disapproval was they stole my bike. My mom worked hard for that bike. She sweat, she spent her money, and that was mine. Mm-hmm. And how dare you come and take what's mine without me giving it to you? Mm-hmm. As a child, we're not thinking at that level. You know, me at the age of 10, 11 years old, that's not a part of the world. It was, Mom, they stole my bike.
Yeah.
But how does, and as an adult, how does that transmit? If you're in an abusive situation, how does karate help in an abusive situation, whether it be physically or mentally? Husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. Disgust, when the individual get beat down enough that they say, you know what? Yeah. It is enough. And I am going to seek a way to protect and defend myself through these karate lessons, which karate is a form of self-defense. You use that tool. And then you develop a self of confidence. Mm-hmm. You develop that, you know what, I will get out of this relationship because it is very volatile and I might kill him. The confidence level now occur within you, and subsequently you're able to do what you need to do to distance, do what you need to do to move on ahead.
So disgust is the trigger.
Trigger.
The trigger.
There has to be a trigger.
But one of the key components, I think when anybody looks at karate, what they see and expect is discipline.
Hi.
Mm-hmm. And I want us to talk about that because, maybe that's why it appeals more with parents into having the children enrolled. Not because we have undisciplined children, but it's a hard lesson to teach.
That's correct. I have a slogan, a disciplined mind. Disciplined body is a disciplined mind. Mm-hmm. And the little ones, they're taught that you must take care of your body, you must train, you must go through these physical exertion exercises, and subsequently the disciplined mind will occur. And the disciplined mind is that going over into that enlightenment. 8, 9 years old, they don't even have a clue. But as they go into being teenagers, as they go into being young adult, and they continue on with their training, then you start seeing changes within these little ones. Numerous times parents have said to me, you know what, my child was this, my child used to behave like this, and when I enrolled them in an institution, it's like I see they no longer have this behavior that they once used to exhibit. How does that transmit into the adult world? Mm-hmm. Well, I'll be straight frank with you. Most adults are undisciplined. Mm-hmm. They are undisciplined. Subsequently, when the adult decide that I am going to engage in an activity and that activity requires them to be disciplined and that application is made and they continue that continuous exposure, then what happens?
Awesome. Yeah.
A transition that occurs psychologically and then exhibit externally.
You know,
and discipline in one area can transcend into another. Although I feel we all lack discipline in at least one area.
Oh yes, oh yes.
We're not perfect.
We're not perfect. We're not perfect, Marlene. And that's why the component of karate and the strong emphasis on discipline, that's one of the attraction. And it's real. Yeah. Karate is designed to discipline the body, subsequently transmit to discipline in the mind.
What's been the most powerful experience that you've had in your personal life because of karate?
Karate have impacted my life in so many different aspects in my journey in life. And one of the most powerful, I would actually have to say, is the drive to ascertain a higher level education within the United States, which subsequently opened doors that would have possibly been closed had I had not that education. And a domino effect. Doors were open, and subsequently things happen on upward mobility in life.
Yes. Shihan, I'd like you to talk a little bit about what karate does for you in terms of looking at what your limitations are. And I'll disclose this, that my daughter loves and attends your dojo. And one of the life lessons that she came home with, which I thought was just invaluable, was when she first got there, the class that's above her class was breaking boards.
Right.
And she came home and said, "Daddy, I don't know if I'll ever be able to do that." And when she did a couple more classes, her retort was, "I can't wait to see if I can." And that arose of an experience when I came to pick her up where she was trying to do some push-ups and she felt that she had come to her limit. And you told her, "Don't give up."
That's right.
And she pushed through. And then she said, "Daddy, I can do a little bit more." Karate, can you talk about how karate makes you test your limits? Whether or not you think that, I can't fight somebody who's trying to harm me right now and I can't run away from, or whether or not it is that I can't sacrifice the time to go and learn this discipline, or whether or not I can't learn to do all of the katas the way I should.
Correct.
Could you talk to us about what karate does for letting you know that your limitations are self-imposed and not real?
There are limitations in life. And the reason why those limitations exist is because we make them our limitation. Karate develops an inward mindset that there is no limitation in life. In other words, nothing is impossible. That you can accomplish what your mind set on, or what you set your mind to accomplish. It's that believing in yourself. And subsequently, that's what I saw with your daughter. She came to believe in herself that, yes, I can do this. And it was fostered by me sharing with not just her, but with all the students that's there, that there's no limitation. You can become, you can do this. You do not quit because it is hard or difficult or challenging, but you continue to push through to acquire what you need to acquire. Limitation is what we make them. Competition. When I hold world championship back in the days, and I still compete here now and there. And when you look at an opponent, one or two things go through your mind. Especially if they're big and they're strong, and your frame is kind of, boy, that guy's kind of big. Can I really take him on? Yeah. Well, if you put in your mind that, you know what, he is much stronger than I am, he's much bigger than I am, subsequently you've already defeated yourself. So limitations is what we make ourselves to believe and subsequently become.
There's a self-awareness, I think, that comes with exploring your limitations and pushing beyond it. And it is, I think, a concept that not many explore, especially children.
Yeah.
If as adults we can't do it, we can't teach children how to do it. And we say it all the time, people kind of just go through the emotions and don't realize sometimes you can look at things from a broader perspective. How do you take little ones and have them recognize, build the connections of some of the very things you spoke about? Building a disciplined body, it's a disciplined mind. It's a abstract concept.
It is, for many.
But that they do learn.
Yes.
How do you bridge that divide?
Well, that comes with, I share with you the educational part.
Yeah.
I do have a master's degree in education. Subsequently, bridging that gap is knowing the techniques, how to work with that child I'll give you an example. The child comes in and the child is not confident, low self-esteem, and that occur, I'm going to go in the home setting, because mom and dad tell the child every day how worthless they are, and all the negativism that exists in the home. And now subsequently, now the child is a product of that, and he comes into the studio. Now, Shihan will take that child, and I will not say change that child, I will assist the child in developing that child to the best that they can become, because that's what I do best. So now I employ the skill. The child come in, no lack of confidence. Let's take a jog around. Run on the dojo, take a lap. Child walks. No, I didn't say walk, I said jog. Let's go, 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 go. Encouragement process.
Yeah.
Versus discouragement.
Yeah.
Doing the push-up. The child said, I cannot do no more, I cannot do anymore. Why? Because the child had been beaten down at home psychologically that you can't become anything. In the dojo, let's do one. And he quits. Let's go ahead and work on another one. Awesome, you got another one in. And you slowly start to build the child psychologically by saying the objective that the child accomplished. You do not beat them down. You just continue giving the positive reinforcement. And that continued positive reinforcement now transmit to the child like, wow, I can do this. And not only I can, I will do this. Not only I will, I must do this because Shihan expect me to do this. So now the expectation comes in. I have to do this because my teacher have this trust in me. My teacher have this, and the teacher says I can do it, so I know I can.
You know, it's a very powerful lesson.
Powerful.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Because when you look at, this is an ancient art.
Hi.
This is, and we're looking at 2019 in a different culture.
That's correct.
Karate almost represents the opposite of where we are as a society.
That is true.
We're all individual. We're different. In karate, you put on the same attire,
Uniformity.
same uniform. When we're in society, we tend to lock into each of our own devices.
Yes, sir.
And we ignore everybody else. In karate, it's a social environment.
Yes.
For karate, you have to come out of your house. Most people right now are in their house. What can we do more to get people to extract these life lessons and to join in the family of what karate can bring? Should it be more in the school? Should parents be taking this as a priority? What can we do to actually get our kids? And not only, because as I say that and as we focus on the kids, I want to go back to something that you said. The adults that I've seen coming to your classes, I see a different swag in them.
Yes, it is.
And it's a lot of times
Yes,
it's
it is.
females. I see a lot of females, some single mothers. I don't know why they're there. I've never asked them. I probably should engage in a
It's a
conversation.
self-defense class.
But the joy in them and the swag in them, especially when they put on that new belt, it's just, unexplainable. How can we get more people to see and to drink the red pill and not the green pill, and to join in the life lessons that karate can provide?
In promoting karate, if you go back historically to one of the founders in karate, in particular the discipline that I studied with Shotokan, the instructor or the master instructor was a educator. He was actually a school teacher. And subsequently, within the school system, karate was introduced and it remained at the school system. They saw the benefits of it, as I'm expressing the benefits that I myself have personally and others have benefited from it within the educational setting. I was requested a time ago by an educational institution to conduct karate as a part of the physical education curriculum within the school. And I undertook that project, and it was phenomenal because you saw the teenagers who have all those challenges as teenagers, and you saw behavior that was out the door, and through the PE program, if you was to do a study of it, you would see that behavior
Problem
went down.
Wow. Well, that definitely is something I think that people can explore. we're out of time, but I want to thank you for coming in and sharing your own life lessons. I think we usually hear tidbits of it when you come in and we do practical sessions.
Yes.
But it's great to hear just how impactful it's been on your own life and what you've seen in the kids as well. So thank you, Shihan.
No, hi.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take our final break, and we'll be back in a few, so stay tuned.